Hi, everyone, and welcome to episode 81 of Midday Poppyland on the Story Tinker. Today, we have a very special guest. Her name is Toon, Cassie, and I assume you've probably seen her videos on YouTube. She does a lot of webtoons, she does read-throughs, and I will let her talk more about her channel now.
Thank you, Mandy. What's up, everybody? It's your girl, Cassie from Toon Cassie, where I do reaction videos to a bunch of different webtoons. The top one is Midnight Popular, and you know we are over here, Tora gang, what? So I just want to say thank you. I'm excited to be here, and I can't wait to talk about one of my favorite webtoons. Yay!
Yes, I'm excited too. It's always, I love all my co-hosts, but I also like meeting new people. So it's always very exciting for me.
Thank you.
Awesome. So yeah, this episode has a lot. So we start out in the closet, right? Tora yanked her into the closet, and Poppy is thinking to herself, of all the things I was expecting him to say, this wasn't it. And he said, I miss ya.
Which I was shocked. I was really shocked that he would say he missed her and stuff like that. At the same time, I'm not shocked because in the last 5 episodes, we see that Tora has come to realize the light bulb went off that he's in love. I was like, oh.
And then he denies it like a second later, like whatever, 2 days later. But yeah, I think like when he said, I miss you, I don't know if he even meant to say it. I think he it just popped out of his mouth.
Yeah. That's what I kept saying. I'm like, he's gonna have a hard time. And I just keep counting down until he actually slips up and he's like, I love you.
Oh, that would be great. That would be a great moment. So Poppy is thrown off by what he says. And she thinks to herself, and whatever composure I said I had, I might as well throw it out the window because there won't be a single shred left if he keeps it up. And of course, he's like leaning over her.
Yes, I'm like, that scene is amazing. The whole romantic, the way he's leaning, towering over her, and Poppy's just sitting down. I was like, they are too cute. In the outfit, you saw Poppy's dress. Yes. I was like, my boo came through with that outfit.
I know. Yeah, she does pull off very, very cute outfits. So cute. Yeah. And she's like, thank you. And I think the next panel, who's flinching? Is it Tora flinching and then shaking? Like, because I see those 2 line marks. Is he moving away? Is he flinching?
I think it might have been Tora, based the way,
Why do you think he's flinching?
A little bit shocked with what she said. But Tora is also really great because I know he's not going to hold it against her. But it probably caught him off guard that he even said it and how she reacted.
Do you think he feels like her reaction was too cold and so he's like moving away because he feels like she's not reciprocating?
I don't think so. I think more so that I can't believe I just said this is Bobby, like of all the people, like what am I doing? And so more so he's probably off like, whoa, I said this, me Tora, big bad gangster. I want to hear talk about I miss you than what she said.
I see. So Poppy looks away nervously and thinks to herself, darn it, I can't seem to stop myself from trying to play it cool. So it seems like she regrets that she wasn't reacting like in a maybe as equally emotional, like she wasn't reciprocating the way that he gave to her.
Yeah.
And she thinks it's the first time he's expressed his feelings towards me, and it feels so new and precious and fragile. I want to tell him that I missed him too. And
when she said that, I was like, that is so cute, because I was like, I know a lot of us may have been in Poppy's shoe where we want to tell our crush, our significant other that, hey, I miss you, but for some odd reason, we're just like, I'm not gonna say it, but you want to say it. And that's why I love Poppy so much. She is so relatable to a lot of us.
Yeah. I don't have much dating experience. Like I've said this like on the podcast, I grew up very religious and like I didn't really date until I met my husband. But yeah, I even with my lack of dating, I can remember going through this like awkwardness around someone you liked and like not knowing what to say and like how much to show, and it's so awkward. I'm like, I've been married for like almost 12 years now, and I'm like so happy that I don't have to do that. It's so hard.
The dating world is something else.
Yeah. So, but she, showing us a little flashback of how much she missed him. She's holding, I think it's his shirt, is his dino shirt.
Yes, I recognize that. It's the dino.
So, and she's like, I'll do the laundry next week. Gotta protect the stinky. Oh my gosh.
Oh man, ever since the time, flashback way back when she climbed the tree to rescue what I like to call the captain of the ship, because that cat set the tone for what would be. And Tora caught her and put the hoodie on her. Ever since then, she's been addicted to his scent. I was like,
Yep. That's hilarious. She called it stinky. Hmm. And, you know, she thinks back like, yeah, I have missed him and it's right at the tip of my tongue, but it feels like I've got a bad case of stage fright and I can't bring myself to say it to him. And like, you can see the physical distance between them. Like he's moved away, he's looking away, his shoulders are back. She's anxiously looking at her like hands. And I think she like wants to say she missed him, but she can't. Like,
okay. And that, a lot of that, I think, on top of Poppy, her own self, the way she view herself, you add in the trauma with jewelry and stuff like that. So I'm like, it's not gonna happen overnight, because I've seen some comments about, oh, why can't she? It's and I like how Lily does that. She makes a real world representation. It's not out of nowhere. Poppy's gonna get up and be like, yeah, let me be this super emotional, confident type of person. It's a progress for her, and it's going beautifully.
yeah, I totally agree. And like, while as readers, it's frustrating. We want to be like, just kiss already, or like, just say I love you already. And hello, hold on, let me stop the recording. So yeah, so one of, you know, we're all like, oh my God, just like, you know, get it on already. But I agree, it's not realistic. And I have some friends who have like had very traumatic relationships, and when they're getting into new relationships, it takes them forever. And like, you know, our friends can be like, we know, like, okay, you know, we see that you're good for each other. Like, we're like, just go ahead. But they take a while because they've been through traumatic experiences. And like, it's not easy to go back into a relationship after that. So it's so realistic.
It is very, you got the jewelry thing playing in Poppy's head, her mother. I'm like, all of that combined together, it's gonna make her hesitant. But I like the fact that Tora is super patient and he's gonna carefully maneuver that with her. And I like that.
And I don't think he himself would be able to go fast either. I mean, we just saw he decided to deny his love like a second after like admitting it.
And now he's back to I miss you. I was like, watch next episode.
Right. So she thinks to herself, crap, I hope he wasn't put off my dumb knee-jerk response. Come on, Tora, please, please, please. And I think that the fact that Lily chose the Black background is just like a clue to her inner feelings. Like she's like in darkness because she's like mad at herself, like, shoot, I can't like express myself well and he's gonna reject me now.
Yeah, which all plays back into, you know, her past traumas. And so I was like, I like that too. I noticed that when you said it.
Yeah. But Tora to the rescue, like you said, he is ready to take it slow. He sees past it. He understands that she can be awkward. And he just comes a little closer and he brushes her lips. So sweet. Oh, very, very sexy.
That's my favorite part. That's what I honestly love about Tora. Instead of him making it awkward, instead of him making her feel guilty or shameful, like, I don't mean to compare them, but take for instance jewelry. I feel like in this situation, he would have been like, oh, Poppy, you don't show me no feelings, this and that, and probably use her. This is why your mother left you against her to bring her further down. Whereas Tora's like, yo, I can tell Bobby's thinking too much. That's his favorite thing to tell her too. You think too much. He's like, I'm gonna go ahead and stop your thought process with a kiss.
Yeah, he can see through her awkwardness. He understands why she reacts the way she does, which is very emotionally perceptive of him. You know, he is emotionally perceptive.
Distraction too.
Yep. And then he gives her this look and he's like, kiss me. It's so cute. I love how I really am impressed that he can ask, because I was thinking that he wouldn't feel like he deserved love and that he wouldn't have the temerity to say, I want it. Can you give it to me? So what do you think of the fact that he can ask her?
True. Big growth from Tora prior, who wouldn't have asked her that confess. That's why I'm like, hey, he can say, like he said 2 episodes ago, oh, he don't have feelings for her, but his actions compared to when he was sick to now, or when they were at the pier to now, I'm like, sir, you in love, okay? You are in love.
Yep, so doodles. And Poppy is, she looks at him with anxiety in her look, but I think also relief. And she thinks to herself, phew, looks like he was undeterred. I forgot the size of his tiger ego is probably big enough for two. Thank God for that.
Oh man, that tiger ego.
Mm-hmm. And Tora's confused. He's like, what's so funny? Doesn't get why she's laughing. Oh, but then she like puts her, oh my God, it's so romantic. I can't even talk about it. They're like, put their arms around each other. And she thinks to herself, we've kissed more times than I dare to admit, but this time it feels different. And then there's like this aerial view. So beautiful. And then there's kissing.
The aerial view is the best. I like it because you see Tora towering over her. And that's one of my favorite when they do get intimate with each other is the height difference between her and Tora.
Yep. Yeah, my husband's very tall. He's like 6'4", and I'm 5'6", but I don't really notice it so much until I see pictures of us. And I'm like, oh my God, like I reach his shoulder. And I'm like, in real life, it doesn't seem so like such a difference, but yeah, he is quite
It's
tall.
a lot harder. I'm 5'11".
Yeah, oh, wow.
I'm already a tall.
Nice.
Right. A tall gal.
That's awesome. Yeah, I love. I would be happy. I'm fine with my height, but I love like being tall. I would be quite happy to be tall, taller.
It's worse when I wear heels. It's like, oh, I go from 5'11" to like 6'4".
Yeah, I own heels and I never wear them. Once a year, maybe. Anywho, they're going further in this little kiss here because I don't know who opened his shirt, but it's open now, and it's she's got her hand on his pecs. Sorry, I always say abs when I mean pecs. Pecs, and she's going for it.
I'm right outside. She's all lean like this. And it's just to give y'all a vision. This is what's happening. Pretend my head is torn.
Yes, it's sexy time. And she's thinking to her, right now, all I can do is surrender to the sound of my heartbeat and the warmth of the skin. Right. At some points, you just like turn your brain off and you're just like in the moment and you feel like it's just all about the physical stuff. And they stop kissing, she's huffing, and she thinks to herself with his arms pressing me tightly against him and his hands running all over me. She's licking his collarbone. And the next one, she's nibbling on Mira's collarbone.
I had to fan myself real quick because I was like, Bobby, like, girl, you out here nibbling, licking. I was like, she caught me off guard with that because, Poppy's so reserved, and to see her coming out her shell, I'm just like, yes, boo, yes, get your confidence, do what you gotta do.
This is like the furthest we've ever gotten. And she thinks I'm finally feeling brave enough to explore a little more of him. Like, yeah, this is the most we've ever gotten in this comic. I mean, if you read Lovely Secret Gardens, we've been blessed, but like, this is the most we've gotten in canon. So
yes.
Ooh, yes, very, very
to see Poppy initiating it and stuff like that. Like normally we used to Tora initiating a move, a kiss, or saying something slick, but I was like, Poppy herself initiated that. Like she is doing the nipple. Like, ma'am, who are you?
Yeah, what she says later actually very like instructive, and we'll get into in a second. But Tora is like, he is reacting, he's huffing, he's shaking, he's like and he's like, Bobby, and he looks at her, and his shirt is like completely open. Well, it's completely open, but it's very, very open. And he's like, can I have a look at you? And he's so shy and so cute in how he asks.
It is, and I'm like, for a gangster. That's another thing I like about Tora. His true personality. He is the definition of a lover and not a fighter. I believe that truthfully, deep down inside, if it wasn't for Bethlehem and how he was raised, he would have been just a pure, hopeless, romantic type of lover. But he has to maintain this, I'm a gangster persona. But in reality, he just want to spoon with Poppy. That's all he want to do.
Yes, I know. He's like so courteous. Oh. And Poppy is like, look at me. And then she gets it and she blushes. She like looks down. It's so cute.
I'm like, I didn't get it at first. When he said that, it took me a minute until I got to the scene. I didn't realize what was coming. So I was also shocked. I was like, what?
Yep. And she can't look him in the face. She's blushing, but she says, okay. And Tora says, kick me in the nuts if I'm going too fast for you. And she laughs and says, deal, which is great. Kind of like, he's giving her an out because he does understand, this is her first time. And, he doesn't know how ready she is. I mean, she kind of, like you said, she was taking the lead now. So he's like, okay, you're showing me the signs, but I still want to make sure that you're ready.
Which is a thing that I know a lot of us have complimented Tora on, the fact that he is very respectful, and consent is always a big thing with him in Poppy. He never pushes further than he needs to. And so it's really awesome to see a character like that.
Yeah, 100%. And he slides her dress off, very sexy, and off the top of her shoulders. And then we get an image of Bobby. So she's like, cleavage is exposed. She's in her bra. It's a little bit covered up, but yeah. So I have to say, the second I saw this, when I saw her, like, what do you think of her body language right now?
Vulnerable. She is being vulnerable with them, open with them, but at the same time, she's hesitant because the hands are still up, like, hey, I'm prepared to fight, but I'm gonna let my guard down a little bit. So it's like there's layers to her walls, I believe, that she built up to protect herself. And at that moment, it's like a layer is coming down. At the same time, she still has her default, which is, hey, for her to fight whatever is going on. So I thought that's what I was seeing with that moment in that image. It wasn't so much of a sexual thing for me as it was, hey, the growth in Poppy and the walls coming down.
Yeah. So I think, like, she was okay with it, but not completely comfortable yet, And, that's exactly what happens because, Tora's dumping and he's like, Jesus fucking, and he's very moved by this exposure. And Poppy is like, okay, that's enough. Like, she's like, Tora, I'm about to kick your nuts. And she just, like, she's embarrassed. She just thumps herself into his chest. He's like, okay, enough looking.
Tora's face at that panel is so adorable. He reminds me of somebody who basically, your first crush or your first love, and you see them in that instant. He is just as embarrassed as she is to have seen, where he got a glimpse of. So I thought it was very endearing to see him react that way. Instead of reacting like, a typical jerk would be like, yeah, ooh, this ain't nothing. But he's reacting like, yo. It was also something embarrassing for him to see. Like, he was just as shocked as she is in regards to seeing what he just saw.
Yeah. And I like how, it's showing that Poppy is like taking baby steps. She nibbled at him and was touching his pecs, and she was okay with him seeing her, but for a second. She can't go all the way. She needs time.
Yeah, and he's easing in it. You know what I'm also curious about? I don't know if you noticed this or want to point this out, but it's been brought up in the past that Tora doesn't have a lot of experience with women, or it's been questioned whether or not he's been with a lot of ladies. His reaction at that moment, right? His blushing face, do you think it plays into his lack of interaction with the opposite sex?
I mean, we do know that he slept with people, but I don't think it meant as much to him. I think they were all just like, I don't know, a way of him releasing energy or like scratching an itch. But I think that Poppy is the first person that it means something for him. So it's kind of like starting all over again in a way.
Okay, because that's the vibe I was getting. Basically, like he is starting all over. This is brand new to him also. And what you just said right now makes sense. Before it was just, you just perform the act just to perform it. And this time feelings are actually attached to it. So it's a different ball game.
Yeah, exactly. And he says, and he kind of references his own first timeness, or what it seems like the first time, because he says, I'm normally not this awkward with this kind of stuff, I swear. So so he obviously has experience before, and he's like shocked at himself that he's being so awkward. I must be losing my goddamn mind or something. Yeah. And Poppy keeps thinking, all this while, I've tried my best to stay in control and clamp down on my feelings, but it's getting harder for me to think straight the more I'm with him. And I'm not sure if, once I let go of all control, I'll be able to reel my feelings back in. Aw.
That is so cute.
Yeah, I mean, and we kind of see also like she's nervous about a relationship with him because she's falling for him. And when you fall for someone, you give them a piece of your heart and then they can trample all over it. So it's scary. And that's what she's scared of.
Yeah, and in her case with Tora, it's not just releasing her feelings to him. It's everything that comes with being with Tora on that level, like having feelings for him, admitting to it, and pursuing a relationship, knowing where he is in the gang and the mafia and all this. It's a lot to take into consideration. So I think even when Poppy gets to the point where she's able to admit to herself she has feelings for him, then it's gonna come that hurdle. Hey, how do I handle his lifestyle and what he do?
Right. Yeah, exactly. It's not just a regular relationship. And, you know, now he's tracing her nose, very intimate, very romantic. And Poppy asks him, are you always this intense? And she thinks to herself, like, how he seems scary to many people, even to me at the start, but I can't help but want to tease him. Right. And this is like Poppy's special gift. Like, she doesn't see him like other people do.
Yeah. She actually, by her teasing him, is what got him to, bring down his own guard. So I think it was that scene when they were chasing, who was it? They were
Lamb and Charge.
Yeah. They were chasing for the Mr. Lim. There you go. Yes. And they were on the stairs and she was like, oh, you a thug. That was the beginning of the tease. And when he went to cousin, she was like, no.
Yep.
No.
That was funny. Yep. And she asks him, is this what you've been hiding with your pervy little jokes? And they're laughing. They're so cute. Really love it. I love seeing their little smiles. So adorable. Because it feels good to see him laugh and smile, like holding a tired, wilted little flower up to the sun, filling it with warmth and watching it bloom again. Oh,
I thought that was such a beautiful description of Tora.
Yeah, exactly.
He's a flower. As much as, Vincent refused to see our boy as the handsome flower he is indeed a sensitive flower, Vincent.
Yep.
Weapon.
Exactly. And so, yeah, and she thinks I feel like I want to keep doing this, at least for as long as I'm able to, which is like, that's the caveat. That's the hesitation. And he asks, does it scare you, his intensity? And Poppy thinks to herself, and though he doesn't always give the most direct answers, he responds in the most deeply personal ways without even flinching, unlike the scared little coward that I am, blocking out my thoughts and pushing away my feelings. What did you think of Poppy talking that way about herself?
I'm not a big fan of her calling herself a coward because I don't think she is a coward. And that's just me projecting my own, persona, whatever, onto her. But I'm like, you're not a coward. But like every time she say that by her side, I just want to give her a little motivational pet. Like, you got this, Poppy. You are not a coward. It's okay. Take time. All of us, we feel what you're feeling. But once again, it is a reflection of real world things that we go through. And I like Lily don't sugarcoat it. She basically keeps it very real for the most part. Like from what I've been reading, these feelings, these thoughts, a lot of us, we have them. And so for her to just put it out there just exactly as it is, it's nice to see it.
Yeah. Yeah. We tend to put ourselves down a lot, even if it doesn't, if it's not justified. Yeah. And, but I also like how she's self-aware enough because she does push out, it seems so far that she does push away her feelings. So yeah, you're right. To call herself a coward is too much, but she understands her emotional reaction well. So I'm glad that she's self-aware like that.
Poppy is good at that.
Yeah, and she tells him, no, basically his intensity doesn't scare her because sometimes I'm the same too. It's just a side of me that I hide from the world, I guess. And I think she's talking about sexuality here, right? Am I getting it correctly?
I think so too. That's the vibe I'm getting. And that caught me off guard because I was like, we know how intense Tora gets, because his intensity is why on my channel we label him Tiger Zaddy.
Yeah.
But to hear Poppy mention that she also is just as intense, I'm like, baby girl, we have not seen that from you. And so when we do get that intense version of Poppy, I think I'm going to be left shocked. I think all of us is going to be Shocked. But she's giving us clues to prepare us that she is just as intense as her man.
Yeah, and in terms of like, you know, her sexuality, we know she likes to read romance novels, so, and like the smutty ones. So she does have that side to her. She just needs some encouragement to bring it out.
Yeah.
And she thinks to herself, even though he's been so patient and vulnerable with me, and you know, and then they rudely get interrupted. Tora's giving her a very sympathetic look, but then we have, Pops, we're ready. Are you done with your emails? And it's like, oh, now did you have to?
I know. That's all. So I'm like, who is this? Like, leave them alone.
But I mean, it's kind of to be expected if you just like, if you're in a supply closet in the middle of the workday. You know, this is why we have our own apartments for. But anyway. And they're like, hey, where'd she go? Probably headed the same direction as my stupid bodyguard. Thanks, Quincy.
He's snitching on our boy.
And Tora's like, F. And he's like, oh yeah, he's gone too. And he's like, but are you sure they're still acting like they don't know each other? Ugh, girl, I know. Sigh, I think Poppy's still really shy about everything. And it's just hilarious to hear them like, they're reacting, like they're just being talked about. It's like, our girl's no prude, but she can get pretty self-conscious. Which, this is true. All the stuff they're saying is true.
Yeah.
And Tora's like, I'll stay. You go out first. And we have to note at this moment that Tora has some lip gloss on his lips.
We noticed now.
Which we all knew was going to happen. As soon as Erdene put that lip balm on, we're like, yeah, it's going to end up on Tora. And she's like, and I think maybe, and she's like, wait, maybe it's time for me to start doing the same for him, which is to be, it goes, patient and vulnerable. So I'm scrolling back up. And she's like, do you want to get coffee with me? And she's initiating.
I know. I was like, that is such a big move for Poppy, because throughout the series, we don't want to initiate it. It's Tora who's like, hey, let's go somewhere, let's go do this and that. And to see her, something is small, coffee is small, but it's still a big thing for Poppy herself to do. So I'm like, go girl.
Yeah, exactly. It's awesome. It's great. And Erdene, you know, we now see Erdene and Quincy, and Erdene says, don't worry, I'll coax her out of her shell. We'll turn her into a true blue city gal yet. And then slam, they both come out of the closet together because she is not embarrassed to show that she was with him.
Tora's not embarrassed.
It's such a big step. I'm so proud of them that they're like, I think you're right. I think Tora would never have been embarrassed, but the fact that, but he offered before, oh, I'll go out first, right? To try to like preserve her, you know, privacy or dignity. And she's like, no, I can go out with you. I'm not embarrassed of you, which is so validating.
Yeah, I know, because I know it hurted his feelings when they did come to her work office and she wanted to pretend. She was like, hey, let's pretend like this is our first time meeting. And I was like, I knew that stung a little bit, because she was like, man, all that making out we did, and are you gonna be like, you don't know me?
Yeah, exactly. But now she's like fixing that, doing the opposite. And Quincy's like, what the F? She's like, wait a minute, Erdene, you two were in the closet all this while making out? And Quincy gives this little smirk. Oh my God, his face. Bro, your nice pink Urban Delay lip gloss is smudged.
This is what I love about Quincy, because I'm pretty sure that is exactly the name of that lip gloss.
Oh my God, this guy is so smart over like little details. Oh my God. And Poppy's like brushing her hair, and Tora's completely unabashed, doesn't even respond. Yeah. Like, we're gonna get coffee. Since when did you start drinking coffee? None of your business. She's like walking out, she's stumbling and tripping. Poppy's like, Erdene, hey buddy, you're walking too fast for her. She slams into him. And don't wear her out, Tiger. She's a tiny little thing. And use a safety helmet, kids. Oh my God, these two.
That is so embarrassing. I got secondhand embarrassment for Poppy. I was like, why?
And I think there's sexual innuendo there, right? Don't wear her out. Like, use a safety helmet. They're definitely like implying some things. It's funny. And Tora's like, am I walking too fast for you? She's like, I'll run if I have to. Just go.
Get me out of here.
I love it. I would totally be them. I love teasing. The best.
That's why I was like, as much as I'm receiving, secondhand embarrassment for Poppy, in this situation, I would definitely be the Erdene or Quincy and teaser.
Yep. Well, I mean, what are our friends for? It's the best.
To tease you.
And they slam the door, but Poppy and Erdene and Quincy are still looking out, and they can hear them. You have to barge out so abruptly? What, you want me to tiptoe at the door? At least let me arrange my hair. Now they'll think we're a bunch of shameless hoes. And Tora's like, sweetheart, Quincy's the biggest hoe in Narran City. As for your friend, also implying that she also sleeps around. And she's like, well, okay, you've got a point. Aren't we going to wipe that off? I like the trashy look. And Quincy, that's my favorite line. He's like, your mom's a hoe.
That was funny.
I literally I think I slapped my knee and I laughed so hard. I love it. I love it so much. But it's my favorite line of the whole entire episode.
I also wonder real quick though, the whole coffee thing, if this is Tora's first date. I can't wait for the next episode to see his thoughts. And I hope we get a little bit more of him in that moment telling us how do he feel. Because I feel like based on Tora that we know, based on what everybody has told us in the comment, he's the type, if he was with the woman, it's just do the business and go home. That's it. Nothing else. So I think this might be his first date.
That's awesome. Yeah, you're right. I do hope we get to see his thoughts. That'd be great. So they're now we get them. They're outside of the street, and Poppy says, "You knew they could hear us, son of a biscuit. You set me up." And he's like, "Bitch, Bobby, son of a bitch. You're a grown up now. Learn to say that shit right."
Yeah, the bird.
And he's like, "Yep, like that." Grabs her hand. Only if you want me to use it. Which is also a sexual reference, right?
And, I really like that Poppy stayed true to her no cussing thing. That Lily's very consistent with maintaining Poppy's personality. Like season 2, most comics, not all of them, but a few of them, season 2, you'll get characters who are completely different. It's the same character, but the way they behave, the way they move is different from the season 1. And it's like Poppy still not gonna cuss, and I like that. She stays very consistent. And Tora, we can always count on him to throw out the B word, the F word.
Yep, exactly. Yep. And they're both dumping. She dumps after he made that joke, and then he dumps. And Poppy's like, "You just embarrassed yourself too, didn't you?" And he's like, "A little." It's so freaking cute. And she's like, "People in glass houses shouldn't throw shoes, Tora." Was worth it. Oh my gosh, their banter, so thinking adorable. Oh my gosh. And she can read him so well that she can tell he was embarrassed by his own joke.
It's so funny seeing both of them like that. And I think he did that on purpose, put himself in a position to be, embarrassed in order to help her, because Poppy was embarrassed because of the lines that Erdene was saying. Those type of things, those innuendos would have never made Tora embarrassed. Right. But he noticed her, and he's very in tune with Poppy. So he's like, "Hey, you embarrassed? I'm gonna put myself in a position to be embarrassed."
That's a nice thought. That's our sweetie. So now we switch to a totally different place. We have two, looks like they're janitors, and turns out it is Brian and Pinky. And we have an announcement: "Everyone, please leave the building calmly." And people are running out of the building, coughing. He's like, "Oi, Brian!" A lot of people are all coughing. So, please leave the building calmly. Do not panic. Situation's under control. And so people, they're like, "You okay? The hell is that? Some kind of ghastly?" "I think so. Where's everyone else?" They're all coughing. And Pinky and Damien are looking, and they're like, "Shit, where's that effer Gil? Did he leave the area already? He must have given us the slip. I'm calling Big Bro. Beg you to check the road cams." So they've been following Gil. Very interesting. And then they, so I wonder if he's the one who set off the gas or whatever it was, to avoid, to try specifically to get them the slip.
That means Gil is a little bit more of a threat than we thought. He is way more dangerous than we originally assumed. If he did this gas leak in order for him to escape.
Yeah. Well, based on what happens next, now we have, oh my God, I was so freaked out. So he opens the door. It's very ominous. You know, everything's dark. He's just the shadow, the light behind him. He's like, hey, honey, how's your week coming along? Starts out all nice, sounds nice and fine. Then he's like, I had a lucky break from whoever the F's been tailing me for days, or God knows how long I'd take to get back to our secret hideout. Smiling, you know. So we know they're in the secret hideout. And then then we see this bundle on the floor, blonde hair, and blood on the bundle. And he says, you're starting to stink, aren't you?
Yeah. That part right there, I was so in shock. So shocked. But can you pause for a minute?
Yeah. Yeah. So how did you react when you saw this?
Shocked, surprised. I didn't know. Because it starts off with the hey honey, how's your week? And it completely changed my perspective of Gil. I always thought he was creepy. On my channel, we call him fishy eye Gils. But to see him go this far, it's just all the red flags that he had shown us previously was just like screaming at me. It was just like, ding, 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 ding. We told you something was wrong with him.
I know, it was insane. So like we started out with Gil, like he was just some guy, like he was neutral, he was our boss. And then he got creepier and creepier. And then when we got to the scene with his wife, so Patty was like, I'm afraid for his wife's life. Like she was afraid he would kill him. And as soon as I saw this, I was like, oh my God, Patty was right. I'm like, whoa, it just went from 0 or whatever. Like I had all these thoughts about the episode, like, oh, the romance and like Quincy and like her thick feelings and thoughts. And then like it just all flew out of my head. And I was like, oh my God, he murdered his wife.
And I was like, whew, if he did that to his wife, and the way he talked, the way he came in, he was like, hey, honey, it's just showing you that guilt is all the way gone. He
psycho.
Yeah, come, hey, honey, I had a lucky break from whoever. Like he's talking to the body as if it was a normal person. You would think the wife was sitting in the dark waiting for him, but
he is insane. Now I'm terrified because, like you said, if he can do this to his wife, what is he going to do to people he doesn't care about? Or I don't know. The truth is, we know actually people, they do tend to be murdering their spouses, but like, oh my God.
And we do know right now he has some type of delusion in which Poppy is to blame for all of this that is happening to him.
No, oh my God. It's more of his psychopathy or whatever, however you saw it. But like he can't even like accept responsibility for his own like horrible, stupid crimes. And like now he's gonna try to blame her. Oh my God. Terrifying. Oh my God.
Yeah, just like, whew. Yeah. And it's just the whole thing. This whole episode was a roller coaster. Right? We started off way high with the kids, then it went down with, you know, the whole band to the cute little teasing with Erdene and Quincy, and then ploop.
Oh my gosh. Yes, this was definitely a roller coaster. Whew. So, yeah, what do you think is going to happen next episode or future or whatever?
Man, I really think we're going to get to see more of Gil's dark side and just how far he's willing to go for what he did to protect himself and to play victim, even though he's not the victim in the situation. Why? Then we're going to get to a point in this comment, it's going to be like, hey, Poppy and Tora, we get in those little cute moments. And then at the same time, we're seeing Gil become more and more of the dangerous villain he is. And then it's going to mash up where his craziness is going to interrupt our little romance ride that we are on with.
Oh, yeah. Yes, definitely high drama. That would be great, you know, with a whole like Tora rescuing Poppy, you know.
Oh, having to rescue Tora.
Nice. Yes.
And then we get all of this combined with the D-Day stuff that Tora and Quincy is working on. And it's like, how is all of this gonna play? Because I feel like you saw Avengers.
What, Avengers? No.
Yeah.
I mean, I probably saw a few minutes, but no, I don't think so.
Okay, because it feels like all of it is gonna come together all into one big thing, all these different factors, pieces, and boom. Yeah. Romance, Gil, the Vincent D-Day
Mhm.
Goliath notebook, all of it in the
Yes.
blue.
That is a good one.